And hello, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of Night's Talk. I'm your host, Rob Leonard, and with me in studio today, the final episode of Night's Talk for 2016-2017. On my, this is my left, we have head coach Nathan Parrish. Nathan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me again, Rob.
And on my right, Dean Martin, assistant coach. Welcome.
Thanks, Rob.
And director of scouting, Danny Smith. Danny, welcome to the show.
Thanks, bud.
We see each other a whole lot all year long, but it just seems at the end of the year we get together. You guys get to come to my house. So, all right.
Here.
Okay. So let's get started here. I guess you could say maybe it was a bit of a disappointing season. It ended a little sooner than what you thought, Nate. And but honestly, in my opinion, and really it was a rebuilding year for the team. You had 16 new faces at the start of the season. So.
Yeah, a lot of new guys in. Obviously, we didn't meet the goal that the coaching staff had set out at the start of the season. But all in all, I know that when people came to Meaford and we were on the road, we were a team to be reckoned with, and teams were fearing to play us for sure.
Absolutely, and I heard exactly what you said, and as we were saying just a few minutes ago, people just love coming to Meaford, and so at the awards banquet, you mentioned the grit of the team. You mentioned that a few times in your speech, and how was that different from any other year? Was it more intense this year? Did you find that there was a lot more aggressiveness with this group of guys?
Yeah, we had quite a few North American players, and I think that when you play teams that are not quite as North American as we were, I think the physical goes a long way, and I think it showed when we played certain teams like New Tech and the Rattlers and Parrish Sound and stuff like that. We were able to keep games close because of our grit. Definitely they were finesse, but we seemed to always have an answer to stay in the games and compete with them.
Absolutely. I remember, I think it was maybe after 10 or 12 games, I had taken a looked at the stats, and your team was much better defensively. A little off on the offense a little bit, but definitely much better on the defense. And I mentioned to you quite a few times through the season about that forecheck, the forecheck that you had going with that wave of players coming in, and really hemming teams in their own zone.
Yeah, we went into this season with a plan of our defensive style, and as a coaching staff, we got off to a slow start, so we tried to tweak that. And our offense, the way we went out last year against Tottenham and the Rattlers, the system worked for us, so we know the style that we can put across to the kids and what we expect from them, and it took a bit of time for them to buy into it, but teams do fear playing us for sure.
Absolutely, and I spoke with some of the coaches and GMs that you were facing, and they said exactly what you just said, and they really looked forward to playing the Knights because they knew they were going to get a game. Night in, night out.
For sure, the guys always like playing at home. The bus is one thing for the brotherhood and the fun on the way there and home, but when you get to show up to your own rink and it's going to be a full house, and the people in town are talking about it, the flags on the light posts on the main street, and it's just what people do in the wintertime. You can't go to the bank or to the pizza shop to get a sliced pizza without someone mentioning the Knights to you. So it's a good thing all around in town. And we just feel that it works.
All right, let's switch over to Dean here. Dean, team discipline. I really noticed a difference from last year to this year. Last year, and I'm going to be honest, and everybody knows that coming down late in the game, if you were losing the game, now we're getting getting hammered with a whole bunch of 10-minute misconducts, a bunch of unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. Huge difference this year in my estimation. What was the difference this year as far as that? Was there new policy set in place, or was it just the players themselves?
We did the best we could do to try to keep our guys more disciplined. We were a little harder on them this year than we were last year. Still not satisfied with that. I mean, we were a lot better, but we still were one of the most, or if not the most penalized team in our division, I'm pretty sure. Luckily for us, our PK was pretty effective this year, and it didn't hurt us as much. Discipline is a lot more than just taking penalties too. So You know, it's guys buying in and playing the system and listening to what we want them to do. In that regard, our guys were really, really good. And they were better than probably the team we had last year when it came to that. But yeah, still better, but still not satisfied there for sure.
I remember on maybe 2 occasions this year where a player took a questionable, no, say a dumb penalty, and you leaning over to the penalty box and having a little discussion with him, and it seemed like you were just, I don't know, maybe discussing the fact that that wasn't a very good penalty.
Yeah. We actually had some situations this year where we actually had to send some guys off. You know, we tried to get control of it as much as we could because there's so many teams in the league that have really, really good power plays. I mean, you just can't afford to be in the penalty box in that league, especially in our division. It hurts you too much. So.
Yeah.
It's
So,
tough that way.
and let's speak about that division for because it was really competitive this year. They eliminated what was the North Division, moving those teams into this year's North Division. You were in Central last year, so bringing in teams like Elmagwin and Temiskaming, West Nipissing, they kind of they had a good start, it seemed, but that really seemed to bring up the competitiveness in the division this year. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. From 1 to 8, all the way through, the top 8 teams in the league were all really, really good. We had to work for every win we got this year. Not one was easy. You know, you kind of look, even if you look at the first round of the playoffs, you look at 1 playing 8 in the South Division. There's a pretty big difference there in the score line. You know, you see a 5-4 game between us and New Tech, and then you see a 13-0 in the South. Our division was really, really strong.
Really strong. I totally agree with you. And to that point, I took a look today, doing my homework today. It's my day off today, but I love looking at stats and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I took a look at your season. You had 7 one-goal losses. 7 one-goal losses on this season, 7 of the games. Most of those were against the top, some of the top teams, top 3-4 teams in the league, were those 1-goal differences. Do you think, would that maybe translate that you were up for those teams, your players were more up for knowing that they were going to get a good battle and maybe played down a bit to the other teams? Would that be a fair assessment?
Oh, absolutely. It's pretty common in a lot of teams at the junior level. It's a mental game, and you know, you get up for the games where you know you're going to be challenged and you have to perform. When you think you might have an easy night, sometimes you know you don't go out and work as hard or do what you normally do. We tried to challenge our guys to be as sharp as they could at all times. We tried to relay the message to them about how important it is to be sharp, because you know most of hockey is mental when you get to a certain level. Yeah. For sure. Yeah,
I agree with you, Hunter. I remember what I coached back years ago, and you know, we're on an away trip, and you can hear the chatter in the back of the bus, and you know you're going into a game against a weaker opponent, saying we're going to thump them. Try to remind them you have to respect your opponent, that kind of thing. But it's really tough, you know, and it is a tough thing to get them to understand that you have to play hard every night,
Yeah.
right? But I would not say that about this night's team this year. As far as I'm concerned, every game I saw, they battled from the opening drop of the puck to the final buzzer, regardless of what the score was. They kept going. So now this next question will be a question for all 3 of you. What's the question? All right, we've got what player surprised you the most this season? One player that in camp you were thinking was possibly a marginal player, but as the season went on, at the end of the season, you thought, wow.
I think we can all answer that one individually. For me, comes to mind is Callum Queenan for sure. That would be my pick. His size, I kind of underrated him myself, and by the end of the year, when he was healthy, he made every line he played on stronger. So that'd be my choice, and I'm sure these guys might have somebody different.
I agree with that. 6 feet, what's he listed? 6 feet, 139 pounds. And I think his legs are about this big, but
Yeah.
but he played like a 200-pounder, Dean.
Yeah. No, that's who I was going to say as well. Callum Queenan would be that guy for me. When he first came into camp, we kind of, you naturally look at a guy's size. It's just kind of part of the game. I think everybody's mind kind of goes towards looking at how big a guy is. And we kind of looked at that, and we, weren't sure, but he sure brings something special to the game that surprised us, which was nice.
Danny, you're responsible for bringing Callum Queenan to Meaford.
Yeah.
So would you agree with that, or do you have another choice?
Yeah, well, Callum worked out very well for us this year, but another player that surprised me was Simon Olivier Dumas. I thought he was very well defensively. He's probably one of our best defensemen, the most consistent defenseman. I think him and Will Vernon probably contested for one of the best deep pairing in the league for sure, defensively anyways.
I definitely agree with that pick as well. I mean, I mentioned to you guys early on in the season, very impressive stay-at-home defenseman, tough in the corners, very rarely made a mistake, and as far as I'm concerned, a very smart hockey player. So, yeah. All right, so what else have we got? Okay, 2 franchise marks were set this year. Connor Annett, unfortunately, this was his final year of junior hockey, Nate, but he set the record for points in a season for the Knights of Meaford. And Jack Edmonds set, goalkeeper Jack Edmonds, everybody knows that name in Meaford, love the guy, set the record for most shutouts in a season in Meaford with 3.
Yeah, two guys that are true competitors that show up every day and work hard, whether it be in the gym, at practice. They're just the prim and proper type of kids that you want to swarm your team around, and they deserve what they got, and for putting the work in and showing up every day and competing, they deserved it, for sure.
Absolutely. And let's talk a bit about the New Tech series. I think we have a graphic here. You may not want to look at this, but but here it is. And again, New Tech, #1 in the league. I think they only lost 5 games all season long. And looking at these scores, 4-2, 5-4, and 3-0. Definitely nothing to be embarrassed about as far as the Knights go. I mean, you're playing against the #1 team in the league. And what can you say about that series?
Well, it just goes to say what you were saying earlier about getting up for teams that are ahead of us, and there's a prime example. We got up to play them. When you're near the bottom and they're the top, you have nothing to lose, so you put it all at them. And I felt our guys did that from the start of the series right through till we were done last Wednesday, for sure.
Right. And Dean, anything to add to that?
No, I'd agree with that. Our guys, we were ready to go. We had a plan going in, and we just wanted to compete and play them hard, and I think we did that. And obviously the result wasn't, what we wanted, but they worked hard. That's all we can ask.
Absolutely. And, you deserved a better fate as far as I'm concerned, coming down into that final. Well, it was the final game of the season that decided who you were playing against. The ball was in the court of the Parrish Sound Islanders. They got to pick who they wanted to play. They obviously wanted to play the Bradford Bulls in the first round, which is a compliment to you guys. They didn't want to play the Knights in the first round, obviously, because they rested a bunch of their players, started their 4th-string goalie. They were down 6-0 early until they switched their goalie up, and then, I think it ended up 6-4 or something
6-4,
like
yep.
that. But, I mean, that's just the way the game goes, right? They can choose who they want to play.
Yeah, and a little bit of that lays on us as well. Like, we put the control into Parry Sound's hands. Like, if we'd have won some games, looking back now, we don't give Parry Sound that option. It's something that we put into their hands that we could have taken care of ourselves long before it boils down to the last game of the season, for sure.
That's right. Yeah. Anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, no, can't really say it any better than that. I mean, we did have control of our fate at one point. We just didn't take advantage of it when it was there. So
Same things last year, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
You look at the end of last year, you were in that battle of 3 through 6, right? You could have finished 3rd. The worst you could have done was 6th, right? And that's just the way it went. You hit a slump, probably maybe the only slump you had since prior to Christmas. Hit that little slump in there. You lost some games that you should have won. And, but you played the Rattlers and knocked them out in the first round. So
Yeah, that still feels pretty
again,
good.
that's the game, right, guys?
For sure.
So,
Yeah.
All right, Danny, Director of Scouting, your job starts in December, right?
Yes.
Getting players interested in playing in Meaford, and I know you're busy. Can we ask, do you have players for sure coming back from this year's team?
Yes, actually, we've got a handful of signed players. Eric Lowry will be back. Liam Dinner will be back. Adam Robinson will be back. Dan McCall will be back. Callum Queen will be back. There's more to name right now off the top. David Hooper, Connor Long will all be back. Unfortunately, we graduated so many players this year, due to overage. We're going to have a fairly new team again next year.
Right, absolutely. And those are all good names. People coming back, of course, Jack Edmonds has now aged out, and your job of. Do you have a list of priorities? Is there a position that you're putting ahead of any other in this, or is it going to be the best player available?
Well, our
type
goaltending will be to start. We're also going to need some scoring. We've got some speed coming back with Lowry, Dinner, Boudreau coming back. We are going to need some scoring, and we're also probably going to need some grit to add to that. Also, we'll probably add another defenseman. We've got a good core group of guys coming back, so we'll probably add a new defenseman and some goaltenders.
And word of mouth really does a lot of good in this league too, because when Alexander Nazkov came to the team, and I spoke to him prior to one of the games. I don't think he had played yet. He was in Meaford, and I said, "So what made you decide to come to Meaford?" And in broken English, he said that because Taylor Jordan told me to. He said Meaford's a great place to play, right? So Taylor Jordan, of course, the star for the team last year, passing the word on to Nazkov, who scored a pile of points and a pile of goals for the team this year. So hopefully.
And I feel that it's definitely a place that players want to come play. We give them everything that they need, from gym memberships, practices every day. You get to work it at the Royal Military Base. You get practice every day with these guys, and you get to play in front of a big crowd. What kid doesn't dream of that, and play in front of a big crowd and have a good time doing it? And I don't think anybody's ever been here and not loved their time being here part of a night.
Well, last year being my first year with the team, this year I'm hearing a lot more and talking a lot more to the GMs, the players, the other coaches and that, and everybody has said that. I didn't realize that. And actually, nice that you guys take me along for a few bus trips, but I get into the rinks and you can see that the crowd support in those rinks is nothing close to what the Knights get. So that makes it, and I hear from the other coaches that it's exciting for them and their players to go into a building where there's a good sized crowd each and every game. So
and I feel that that's a huge part to our successes. I feel the guys can build a lot of energy based on the support they get throughout the community. So it definitely helps us on the ice for sure.
Absolutely. All right. I owe Will Vernon this. All right. We're going to show Meet the Knights. Will Vernon, I apologized to him profusely a couple of weeks ago at the arena. He's got his earbuds in, listening to his music, got himself in the zone and everything prior to the game. And I know not to talk to the players when I see that, just leave them alone. But he comes walking towards me at the broadcast booth, rips the earbuds out, and he says, "Rob, what's going on? You don't like me or what?" I said, "No, of course I like you." He goes, 2 years and I haven't been on Knights Talk." I said, "Well, we'll take care of that." And here it is. Will Vernon on Meet the Knights. All right, question number one. Your favorite NHL player?
Currently probably Drew Doughty. Of all time, Daniel Briere.
All right. Question number two. You're bailing for your life. Which teammate would you want bailing along with you?
Probably Harley Haggerty, because if you need something plugged up, he's pretty good at being a plug. So
All right.
he'll fit in right well.
Okay. You've been in the league a few years. The team that you hate playing the most?
I don't think I hate playing anyone. I love playing the Rattlers, though. So that's probably, if I had to pick one, probably the Rattlers.
Probably the Rattlers. All right. Okay. Let's see. Number four. If you could pick your dream defensive partner.
Shea Weber.
Shea Weber.
I'm a small guy. He's pretty big. Could use a guy like that on my side.
Good choice. All right. Your favorite place in Meaford to eat?
Leaky Canoe. not just because they're our sponsor, but because they actually do have good food.
All right. And let's see, number 6, your favorite. I know you've been here a couple of years. It might be tough, but pick your very first or your very favorite moment as a member of the Meaford Knights.
I think just getting out of the first round last year, beating the Rattlers the way we did, and pulling together as a team there is the first time we've ever made it out of the first round in this organization, so I think that was pretty big.
All right. And and number 7, how far do you predict this team will go into playoffs this year?
I think we'll get out of the first round as well. I mean, things aren't still for sure who we'll be playing or if we'll be in that one-game elimination, but I believe in this group, and I think we have one of the best teams in the league by far, so if we pull it together, nothing's going to stop us.
All right. And finally, anybody you'd like to say hello to?
Yeah, hi Mom, hi Dad.
All right. There you go. Well, buddy, we're even. All right. That was defenseman Will. Defenseman Will Vernon. So, all right, guys, one last thing we want to do here is let's take a look at the remaining teams in the quest for the Russell Cup. I believe we have that graphic, and we do. And as you can see, we've got New Tech playing right now against Temiskaming. They're up 1-0. And Parry Sound and South Muskoka haven't started their series yet, as far as I know. First off, Nate, let's pick who you think are going to win out of those two and who will be the North champion.
I'm going to go with New Tech just because they have home ice advantage here. And then the other series, I'm going to go with South Muskoka Shield.
All right, and so that'll be New Tech and South Muskoka. Who do you think is going to win the North?
I'm going to say New Tech.
New Tech. All right, Dean?
I think it's going to be South Muskoka. I think New Tech will take Taming in that round. Same reason as Nate, just because they have home ice. South Muskoka is kind of the dark horse for me, and they played well against New Tech towards the end of the season, so I'm going to take them for the North champion.
All right, Danny?
You know what? I'm going to agree. I'm going to say New Tech's going to take Temiskaming, but I think they're going to take them in 5. And I think Muskoka is definitely going to come over Parry Sound.
And I absolutely agree with all three of you on those. And I think that South Muskoka's got a really good shot at winning this division. So no offense to Ryan and his team in New Tecumseh, but I think South Muskoka's got a pretty tough team there. So do we have the South, Mark? We do have the South. Mark doing a fantastic job back there. We got the Niagara Whalers up against, I believe, who?
North York.
North York, right. And St. George playing against Kingsville. Niagara and St. George leading 1-0 in their series.
Yeah, it's tough for us to sit here and pick on that just because we didn't see these teams all year. Danny and I were fortunate enough to see a few of these teams at the showcase, but that's leading back to Christmas time. So sitting here having a conversation, I'm going to say Niagara is going to go to the South champion, and I think they were going to play St. George, and I'd like to give a shout out to Toby Keating that is down there for school and playing for St. George right now as well. So good luck to him.
All right. Yeah, I was going to mention Toby's playing there, of course. And who are you picking for the South champion?
South is Niagara.
Niagara. Okay. Dean.
Yeah, like obviously we know kind of Niagara's the favorite. Obviously they've got a pretty well put together team there. But I'm going to go with the St. George Ravens for my boy Toby, if he's watching. Let's shout out to you, buddy. And yeah, hopefully they can do it.
They had a convincing win last night. I believe they won 7-4 over Kingsville last night.
That's correct.
So, yeah. And Danny.
You know what? I think Niagara is gonna take North York for sure. They're just way too powerful from what we've seen. And you know what? I think the Topster is gonna come out on top for sure over the Kingsville. I'm gonna take St. George and Niagara in the division finals. And sorry, Toby, but Niagara's got them beat.
All right, so we're looking at hard to say who's going to win. There was a lot of good parity in the league this year, so it's tough to say who's going to win the whole thing. So Niagara looks strong, but then there could be one of 3 teams from the north, you know, that could be there in the end. So
For sure.
I think that's about it. I think
Well,
that's about
we're
it
gonna
for
do
this
round.
week.
We're gonna do round 2 of our Meet the Broadcaster.
Oh, here we go.
We
All
have
right.
to. We have to.
Okay.
All right. I got some questions here. All right, question
You know
number
what?
one.
Brandon Bavis isn't here this year, not unless you polled him from wherever he is.
Oh, no, Bavis has got a question.
Oh, no.
Okay.
All right.
All right, question number one from Dan Smith.
Uh-oh.
Favorite moment this season?
My favorite moment in the season, I'll tell you, it was the game in Bradford where I went down to be on the inside to GMHL. Connor Annett had 2 breakaways in one shift, scored on the second breakaway. But he did. He's got such soft hands. He's such a skilled player. To give that guy 2 breakaways, amazing.
Had a hat trick in that game too, I think.
Yes, I think he did. You're right.
Perfect. All right, from Dean Martin. Question number 2.
Diener. All right.
Favorite place to eat in Meaford?
Favorite place to eat in Meaford? I got to say Amici restaurant, and they take care of the Rogers crew before every game, feeding us a great pizza, and I think there's a connection with the Knights there somewhere. Brian Johnson.
Yep.
Yeah, Amici.
Right on. Okay, question number 3 from Brandon Bavis.
Oh no, here
In
we
the past 2 years, form an ultimate forward line and an ultimate D pairing.
Ultimate forward line would be Mac Fleming, of course. Connor Annett. They're both centermen, right? And we'll move them around.
Oh, we can move them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're versatile.
God, there's so many guys who can pick for the other side. I really like Cole McPherson this year. Nazkoff. Got to go Taylor Jordan.
Okay.
And on the D, Bavis wants me to pay. He was a defenseman.
Don't say
All right,
Bavis.
Don't say Bavis. No, I got to say Simon Dumas from this year's team. And again, tough picks in there.
Give me 3D altogether.
3D altogether. Got to pick Willie Vernon. I love Will. Somebody that gets her done in front of the net. Quentin Maddock, I liked him. If he had one more year here this year, I think he would have improved a lot. I'll go with Quentin Maddock. He was a good young player and good young D.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to question number 4. Question number 4, Rob. Favorite player not in a Knights uniform this year?
Favorite player not in a Knights uniform this year? TJ Sherwood. I only got to see him once. Amazing goalkeeper. He spent a good part of the season out, but I think he was the difference, and he led in every category in the goalkeeping end of it, and I think he was the difference in the series against you guys. I'll say TJ Sherwood.
Perfect. Okay. Last question. Can you please tell us again about your soccer championship?
Jack Edmonds again?
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. I got a bunch of trophies at home, so collecting dust.
Right on.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, well, as an organization, I just want to take time to thank a couple people. I'd like to thank Crystal Armitage, our team photographer. She did a fantastic job this year. I'd like to thank all of our sponsors, everybody who sponsors us. Kunkel Bus Lines for taking us all across Ontario this year, the coaching staff, and I'd also like to thank our owners, Sabine and Didier Cholet, for another great year.
Absolutely, and on behalf of Rogers, we'd like to thank all of those people, including yourselves, for such a great season again and treating us so well every Thursday night and giving me this opportunity to do this show. And I'm going to send my thank yous out to, and all season long, the man that runs all of this, and without him, none of it possible, producer Mark Perry. As I said before, anybody that arrives at the arena on Thursday nights in Meaford at about 5 o'clock is going to see that red Rogers van at the back door and Mark Perry hauling all of that equipment up there. All right, and I got to thank my color commentator, Gord Chapman, for the great job he did all season long. And I think we pretty much had 3 steady cameramen all year long this year with Jeff Chapman right over there. Attaboy, Jeffy, you did a great job as always.
Jeffrey.
And I don't know the last names, but Sean and Kyle from the Meaford. Yeah, those boys did a fantastic job all season long as well. want to thank them. Just like you guys have that team that goes out and gets it done every night. Without that team, Rogers can't get the job done that we get done. So again, thank you very much. Mark Perry, a personal thank you very much for allowing this space and you taking the time to produce Night's Talk all season long. And that's going to do it for us this year. Gentlemen, thank you very much again.
Thank you, Rob.
I hope you don't miss
Thanks,
me.
Rob.
Don't miss me too much over the summer. All right. So we've said all of our thank yous. Big thank you to the fans out there as well, and you know, your feedback on the show, on the nights. Thank you very much. That's going to do it for Night's Talk 2016-17. We'll see you in August.